So hello and welcome to Dommy Tries This. I hope you brought your cuppa. Today's coffee mug is a cappuccino espresso coffee mug where it has different kinds of coffees all over it. As you can see, and it has those three names on it: cappuccino, espresso, coffee. Not a coffee drinker, a tea drinker, but still, it's a cool mug. I don't remember where I got it, unfortunately. It's probably a Kroger mug, but I'm not positive about that. There's a couple of shelves where in one of the larger Krogers where I go and I poke around, and I sometimes find some really neat mugs there. So it's quite possible I found it there. Today's tea is Harney & Sons chamomile tea. I've been feeling a bit under the weather and my tummy's been a little upset, so I thought the chamomile would be a good choice. It has actually been steeping for a little bit, but I wanted to show you the temple, in that it's a very chunky temple. It's really nice. So hopefully that one bag is going to be enough to give us some good flavor. If not now, then by the end of the video. Let's go ahead and give it a taste and hope it keeps my tummy nice and settled. Okay, I slightly oversweetened it, but getting a hint of something in there that I'm not sure what it is. Probably the chamomile, right? So, oh well, this is another box, another bag that doesn't say what's in it. I'm assuming it's chamomile. Oh, exclusively Egypt's finest chamomile flowers. Well, that's kind of cool. It's good. It's just got a slight kind of bitterness to it. Before we get started with anything else, just to let you know that things are starting to warm up around here. We still have the rains coming down, which is why, if you notice, the babies aren't here, but they aren't out front. They're on our porch because those particular pepper boxes do not have drainage. So I want them to get out in the heat because, like I said, it is warming up. But because they don't have drainage, I don't want them out in the rain, which we are still getting at astonishing quantities. Astonishing quantities. But it is starting to warm up around here, so we're going to start probably hearing more of the fans and coolers and those kind of noises in the background from here on out. Hopefully they won't get too loud and bother you too much. Just wanted to put that out there in case you're hearing a humming in the background. It's somebody's fan or cooler going off. So, and also I have a cooler in the house that I might end up starting to run. I've been having a few of those old lady hot flashes again. Anyway, so to move on to our old and new. Today we're actually playing with quite a bit of new and new-ish. One of the things I'm going to try to bring in is the Afrique palette by Juvia's Place. This is relatively new. It's fairly new. This year new. And it is this month's palette for our 1 month palette. So I'm going to bring that in. I'm also going to bring in the Sarah Kay Springtime Fine palette if I can. Newer. This was amongst the items that I won from Too Much Mouth, and this is a Pixie by Petra liquid eyeshadow. This is in Liquid Fairy Lights Passion Light, so we're going to give that a try today. Very new is my Beauty Bakerie Flower setting powder. I've only used this a couple times, and I gotta say I already really like this. Going for old, since we need something old in here, I'm bringing in my Tarte. This one is the Buried Treasure palette. A lot of people bagged on this palette. I think it's a beautiful palette. The colors are gorgeous. Granted, they are more neutral. I did get this this was part of their Christmas collection in 2017, I believe. And I was not quite aware of how much neutrals didn't work on me, so to speak. But we are going to try to use a couple of these colors because they are very pretty, and I think they'll work with today. And it's going to be part of our old. The rest of our old is pretty much going to be face products. It's going to be my, my bronzer, my blush, and all of that stuff. So Never worked with one of these. People say that you put it on the back of your hand. I'm going to use my standard palette that I normally use for everything else when I'm using something. Anyway, alrighty then. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And today's topic is taking control of your plate. There's two things to kind of keep in mind when taking control. Well, there's a few things to keep in mind when you're taking control of your plate. First, what are your goals? Is your goal to lose fat? Most people would say to lose weight, but when it comes right down to it, for most of us, it's losing extra fat. Do you want to lose fat, or do you want to gain muscle? Do you just want to be healthier? So all of those have to be taken into account. I'm going to try to approach this from the idea that most of the things that I have to say will be appropriate for any of those. If you want to lose weight, quote unquote, you're actually trying to lose fat. And if you're going to try to lose fat, you need to eat less than you burn. And so some of these things will help you with that too, especially if you're like me and you're into sweets. And that's a big problem, and you need to have some way to deal with that issue. Alrighty, so let's see. Let's get started. Let's see. Our fairy lights is kind of a... This looks like a red and gold mix. So I am going to go with... So I'm going to mix this gold, a little bit of this gold in with this pink, and put that under the brow. Yes, we are going to do some of this the same. I did have to look some of this up. So, I've never worked with these kind of shadows before, ever. So really quickly before I get into that, I wanted to talk about one of the first ways to help control your plate. One of the things that we all do is we eat off of these big plates. And over the years, since the 60s, these plates have gotten bigger. I believe they said they were around 9 or 10 inches before, and now they run 13 inches or bigger. And of course, when you see a big plate, you're going to want to fill your plate. So if you want to feel like you are eating enough, but you're filling your plate, you need a smaller plate. You can either go for some of these dessert plates, salad plates, the smaller dish plates. You can find them. I'm not sure what the size is on this one. Doesn't say. But this is a Corelle plate that we found. If you use smaller plates like this, you're going to be able to fill it up with less on your plate. Or you could go even smaller and use one of these. This is an actual dessert plate. I'm not quite sure what this is supposed to be, but this is an actual dessert plate, also from Corelle. But you can see the size difference on these two even. So one of the tips that I have is to just use a smaller plate. That will help you to control how much food you have on there. It'll help you make wiser choices, because if you're just aiming to fill your plate, you're not going to have a lot of space for a whole lot of things, and that should help you a lot as well. Alrighty, so moving right along, we're going to go ahead and get this going over here. Like I said, I'm using the pink with a touch of this orangey gold underneath my brow. This could be a color thing, but I'm not seeing much color. They're showing up a bit more now. But I am really having to work on picking it up from the pan. Anyway, so one of the things you want to do is to change your plate. Now, when you're filling your plate is the other part of your challenge, and what you're going to need to do for that to help with controlling your plate is to have more vegetables. And we hear that all the time. Make half of your plate vegetables. Have the vegetables, which I agree with. You just have to find vegetables you like. For example, I don't like peas. I'm going to take this reddish color. I'm going to put that in the crease and sort of brush it upwards just a little bit with another fluffy brush. Add a little depth to this. Make it go into the liquid shadow better. But anyway, so yes, one of the things you want to do is have more vegetables. Find vegetables you like. In our household, that can be a bit hard. I don't like peas. My husband doesn't like Brussels sprouts. I'm kind of neutralish on cauliflower. He loves it. So you're just going to have to find stuff that will work for your entire family, because one of the things you don't want to have to do is cook differently for everybody in your household. I mean, that's just a bit much, you know? But to find stuff that everybody likes, and at least my husband and I can both agree that okra sucks. But anyway, slimy. Don't like okra, neither one of us, which works for us. So more vegetables. You know, half of a plate can seem like a bit much, but, you know, depending on the vegetable, you could have broccoli on the plate and salad on the side. You could have a mix of vegetables, you know, spring mixture, where they have the cauliflower, the broccoli, and carrots, and fill that up on your plate or whatever. For a while, we were having salads every night, just to one way to improve our health. But find a way to add basically more vegetables, more greens. Add them to your main dish. If you're having some sort of pot roast or pork chop or meatloaf, caramelize some onions and throw those on top, or some mushrooms and put those on top. There are ways to add vegetables that don't make them so obvious. You can make them so flavorful. Just add some spices and seasonings, and it'll honest. Once you start getting into it and you start really figuring out ways to play with the vegetables, you will enjoy a lot more, and you'll find yourself expanding on the vegetables you like. Now, I still don't like peas, and he still doesn't like lima beans, and neither one of us still likes okra. He also doesn't like Brussels sprouts. My husband is really fussy. He's fussier than I am. But taking those out, there's still a wide range of vegetables that we can eat and enjoy. Okay, so following what everybody said, I did all my colors up top. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it on my little palette. They all say they'd put it on the back of their hand. I don't want to put it on the back of their hand. I'm going to put it on my palette, just a little bit on my palette here. Having never done this before. It's a lot darker than I expected it to be, but that's okay. And then, supposed to get that's a big one. Kind of a flat brush. And you pick up some off of there and you pack it on your eye. That feels funny because I'm not used to it. I know. There is a lot of glitter in this. And I am definitely going to have to put more down on my thing. Thing is, if it weren't for the glitter, I don't think you'd see it on my face. But that's okay. There's a lot of glitter. That said, it's a pretty color. It's just... I should have gone with the lighter one that I have. Alright, so putting a little bit more of this down. If I can. Finding the big problem is this doe foot doesn't want to pick a lot up at once, but that's fine. And I'm going to put a little bit more on this eye. Feels like it dried down very, very quickly on the eye. Layering it seems to be helping with the color, so that's good. The interesting thing will be, will it stand up to my eyes? We'll see. Okay, I'm going to go on to the next two topics. I'm feeling really weird. It feels really wet and cold, but anyway, I'm not used to that on my eyes with my eyeshadow. Okay, so I said that we were going to do the second eye together, but I'm running into some issues with my phone, so this is going to be a bit more choppy than usual. For that, I apologize. Going to move on. I did apply it to both eyes now, so we're going to just go ahead and move on. Talk about the next two things to help with your plate. They are actually kind of intertwined, and that is 1, swaps, and 2, going whole grain. And going whole grain is actually part of swaps, because what you want to do is do whole wheat or whole grain bread, pastas, rice, cereals, things of that nature. Going whole grain means that they will have the nutritious part of the grain on the left on the grain itself. It won't be completely hulled off, and that will help you to have more of your fiber, more of the nutrients that any grains would provide. And so that would qualify as a swap. Other swaps that I would recommend is things like Greek yogurt in place of sour cream. Believe it or not, they have fairly similar flavor profile, but the Greek yogurt has, if you can get low-fat Greek yogurt in particular, although I don't necessarily say go low-fat, but get a Greek yogurt and you will have higher protein in that. I'm going to use Fiji from the Ivory and go back into my crease and do my point, my wing, my outer, I don't know what you want to call that, towards my outer edge. Having never done this stuff before. Let's see. So we're going to go red. We're going above this. I've got glitter on my face, but I would say that it's not quite. Ooh, I got a bit of. I'm going to have to do a cleanup. And then we're going to go out and do the wing over here. Bus just let out, so lots of yelling in the background. Sorry about that. Hello, children. Anyway, so find substitutes for things on your plate. Yeah! Very enthusiastic about that. So find substitutes for things on your plate, like I said, like the yogurt instead of sour cream. Honestly, I've had it on baked potatoes. It works. It works. So, you know, going whole grain, if you have a particular product that you know that you like, it's really salty, try to find a way to cut down the salt. Another thing that will help in that regard is if you make your own food from scratch. And a lot of people are like, well, that takes too much time. Throw it in a crock pot when you leave for work. You come back, you'll have something with less salt that's healthier for you. There are ways to do home cooking that doesn't require a lot of time, that doesn't require a lot of effort, that isn't going to be too hard. There are cookbooks that are 5 easy ingredients. There are crock pot. Crock pot is so easy. Get yourself a little crock pot or a big crock pot, depending on the size of your family. And yeah, it's easy. It really, really is. You can just literally throw everything into the crock pot and presto change up. You have yourself a meal when you get done at the end of the day. All right, so I want to deepen that reddish color in my crease. So I'm going to use Bintao, and put that in there. This is a look that's very different from what I normally do. We're just going to put that deep in the crease, just to deepen up that red a little bit. I don't know what I'm doing under my brow yet. This didn't take much to do this either, so just in the crease. Like that. And then I'm going to take a blending brush I have, and I'm just going to blend these top layers a bit together. And I think I want to lighten up underneath my brow. What do you think? Another way to get control of your plate is to, and be healthier. This is talking more health than anything else. However, the amount of salt we eat also influences the amount of water we carry. So to reduce salt, once the food hits your plate, no more salt. Do not sprinkle it with salt. This is something I'm working on right now, especially with the edema still being an issue. I'm going to take my Profusion fluffy brush. And I'm going to take this color from the old one. No, this is Palm. I'm going to take this color Palm and add that under my brow. Ways to control amounts. Yeah, that helped lighten things up a bit. Of course, it's also still shiny, but it lightened things up a bit, which is what I wanted. Just a touch. I'm going to take one of these lighter colors and try to lighten it even more. Doing a lot of blending on this one. A lot of combining of colors. But anyway, another thing to do to help control your plate. This one will also work on weight. But one of the things, like I said, we eat a lot of food because our plates are so big. So one of the other things you can do to control amounts is go ahead and serve yourself up like you normally would. And then take a scoop off or a bite off. And when you get used to eating that much less, the next time when you get used to that, take another bite off. When you get used to that, take another bite off. And it will actually, that's one of the things that we ended up doing when we first started working on losing weight. Or not losing weight, I'm being healthier, because I was the only one worried about weight. My husband wasn't worried about weight at all. You will eventually be able to eyeball your portions. It does take a little time, but it's something that I've done. Do the same with sugar. If you're trying to reduce sugar and you drink tea or something, put in, instead of putting in 3 teaspoons, put in 2 teaspoons. Then put in 1.5 teaspoons, then put in 1 teaspoon. You do not need to get completely rid of sugar, but if you want to drop your sugars down, that's one way to do it. So those are ways to bring down amounts and to trim things out of your diet that you don't want to have in larger quantities. I'm going to mix, well, I'm going to put coffee on the inner corner of my eye, and then, no, I'm going to mix coffee and Angelique on the inner part on the lower lash line, and then I'm going to mix coffee with Fiji. So I'm going to start with coffee across, take Angelique in the middle, and then Fiji on the outside edge. I'll get there. We all know I'll get there. Another thing when you're eating, one thing that we all tend, I think we all tend to forget. I know I tend to forget it, but mostly it's because of pricing. Don't forget the fruit. You can find fruit on sale. You don't have to get fruit you hate. My daughters hate cherries. More from me. My husband doesn't eat much fruit at all, but in all honesty, don't forget the fruit. You really, really, I should mattify this a bit, I think. We might end up mattifying this a bit. There is so much shine around my eye right now. Might be a bit much. But anyway, moving on. Don't forget the fruit. You know, if you don't want to eat, you know, half a plate of vegetable, make it, you know, that half, take about 2/3 of it and make it vegetable, and then add a fruit. For snacks, grab a tangelo, a cutie, an apple, a banana. I don't like bananas, but I'm just saying. All right, now taking Angelique on the inner part. So don't forget the fruit, because that's part of your health, and I honestly think you can include that in your vegetable portion, because it used to be that the healthy weight pyramid used to have fruits and vegetables at the bottom. And you were supposed to have about 3 to 4 servings or 3 to 6 servings of each of them every day. And then they took them, and for some reason, they moved them up the pyramid. And that's ridiculous. They are healthy. Their sugars are natural and healthy. They're good for you. They have fiber. They have nutrition you need. They're good. They're good to have. I'm going to throw a little bit of this yellow in there too, just to brighten that up. Come on. Just a little bit. Yeah. It's not looking yellow, but you're getting that cast. That's beautiful. Okay, so now I'm going to take that Fiji and go across the outer half. Blend it into this part. This is a really different look from you guys. So I think I'm pretty much done here. Yeah. I'm tempted to throw this deeper brown in. You know what? I think I will. I'm going to take this deeper brown, this Cameroon. I'm going to go on the outer edge a little bit, just like this. Tame some of that red just a touch. I always feel like if I have red around my eyes, that I look like I'm sick, that I'm down with something. I don't like it. There we go. But I love the color. I love burgundy. So I think we're about done with that. That was quick. This has dried down. Looks really interesting. So, like I said, it's different for me, but it's interesting. It's an interesting different. Anyway, so moving right along after all of that. I don't know how you guys put up with me. I'm just such a fumble person. But anyway, so the big takeaway from everything that I've just said is to eat a little bit from all food groups. You're entitled to have a little fat. You're entitled to have a little sugar. Go easy on your salt. Have a little bit of different colors. Have a few different textures on your plate. Make your plate interesting. You know, go smaller, but, you know, make what you are eating interesting. Use, have bright orange carrots and, you know, maybe your light chicken with some caramelized onions and lemon on it. And then, I don't know, I guess the chicken and the rice would look the same, but you know what I'm saying. You want different textures. You want different colors on your plate. They say eat from the rainbow. You know, that's a Skittles commercial. Well, do the same for your food, especially when it comes to your fruit and vegetables. Have a small thing of blueberries and cream with that or something to get some extra color in there. There is glitter all over my freaking face, guys. All over. I've never seen so much glitter on my face. So that's the big takeaway from using a smaller plate and then making sure you have a variety of food that are all healthy, good for you, so on and so forth. You know, I'm just saying, just smaller plate, use a smaller plate, one of these. Fill it up with some colorful, different colored vegetables. Add a little bit of grain, bread, rice, just make sure they're whole grain, and then your protein, whatever you're going to do. If you're going to have a baked potato, have a baked potato. But instead of sour cream, put yogurt, Greek yogurt on it. Really, it's not that bad. If you like sour cream, you're going to be okay with the yogurt for the most part. Obviously, you want it plain, but no fruit flavors. So, cleaning this up. So, another way to control your plate, and this is actually not so much your plate like when you're eating a meal, but when you want a snack or something, find healthy alternatives for your snack. There are certain protein bars. I particularly like Balance Bar. My favorite Balance Bar apparently is no longer being made. Haven't even seen it on their website, so I'm a little upset with that. But Balance Bar. There's also Think Thin. There's a number of other bars. Luna is okay. They're protein bars. They will have protein and fiber in them. Kind bars are really good for protein and fiber. So look for those and have those for your, instead of a candy bar, using my NYX color corrector for dark circles. The stuff I'm using to try to deal with my dark circles isn't working as quickly as I'd hoped it would, but that's okay. It may not. But yeah, so there are substitutions for your sweets. Like I said, the Balance Bars, I love cherries. Cherries and grapes are like nature's candy for me. They are my candy. So I really enjoy them. I highly recommend some kind of fruit like that you will really enjoy. Obviously, you want it to be something that you like, but instead of eating your sweets, your candy bar, your ice cream, you know, grab a yogurt, grab something else. If you think that it's going to work. Now, here's where it gets tricky, because you're going to have to start paying attention, and you're going to have days where it's not going to work. So, and I'm still learning too. I'm still learning what works for when my cravings are strong enough that going to the alternative is not the wisest choice. And now let me explain that. Particularly if you want to lose weight, but for most of us, we're overeaters. So it's not that we actually eat too much food, usually. It's that we're eating stuff with a lot of calories in it. And those calories add up, and that's what is adding to our weight. So if you, I don't even know how to put this down. Okay, so most of the time you're going to want to attempt to make a substitute. Like I said, yogurt instead of ice cream, a balanced bar instead of a candy bar, some kind of fruit instead of, you know, whatever candy it is you're thinking about having. Most of the time, that's what you're going to want to do. But there are going to be times when that's not going to work. And your craving for whatever that treat is going to continue no matter what. Now, when we first start trying to eat healthy, after not eating healthy for a long time, or when we first start trying to get out of diet culture after being in diet culture for a long time, you know, getting out of the world's weird way of treating food, we're going to find that we're not as in touch with our bodies as we were, say, as kids. A lot of kids, they know when they're hungry, they know when they're not, they know, granted, they won't often try new things, but they know what they like. In fact, knowing what you like as a kid probably is part of the reason why you're having problems as an adult. But anyway, just saying, I know in my case it probably is. Whenever I got an allowance, I always made sure I got myself my sweet stuff. It took me a while to learn to save. But anyway, so the you're not going to be as in touch with when your cravings for something are so strong that you just might as well go ahead and eat that. And the reason I say that there are going to be times that you're going to do that, want to do that, and you're going to want to learn when that is, and that's going to be different for different people, is because here's what's going to happen if you just say, oh, okay, so I really want this. I've been wanting it for a couple of days now, or whatever. I know for me, sometimes I will let my cravings run for several days before I finally give in. Also not a good way to treat your cravings, but anyway, you're going to go and say, just going to hold off. I'm going to, instead of eating that bowl of ice cream, I'm going to grab a yogurt. Just gonna, in fact, I'll take my yogurt and I'll put it in the freezer and I'll make it a frozen yogurt, and maybe that'll help. I don't know if that actually works. Regular yogurt, the only thing is with, you know, frozen yogurt brands, they have a lot more sugar in them, but that's beside the point. So you do that, and then you eat your yogurt. You eat your frozen yogurt or your regular yogurt in an attempt to not eat some of that ice cream that's sitting up in your freezer that you actually really want. So you get done with it, and you wait. You should wait. And sometimes, and in fact, as you get further along, more often, it'll become more frequent as you get further along in doing this. Sometimes that works. Sometimes you'll be like, oh, well, like, you know what? One thing that was in that ice cream that I didn't get in the yogurt is something with some crunch. So I think I will have, you know, a couple of crackers too, just to take care of the crunch. Because sometimes our food cravings are texture related too. You know, I know with me, there are times when I'm just like, okay, I need something really crunchy. It's not often these days, not when the way my teeth are, but anyway, you get my drift, I'm sure. There are times when we just need that different texture in addition to that sweet flavor or whatever it is that we're craving in there. And so we go, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and have a couple of crackers. So you have your yogurt and you have a couple of crackers. And let me tell you something, yogurt and graham crackers taste really good. But anyway, you have your yogurt and you have your crackers. And you wait your 5, 10, 15 minutes to see if your craving will go away, but your craving doesn't go away. So you go, okay, so I'll have another yogurt. So you go and have another yogurt, and then you wait your 10 or 15 minutes, and the craving still doesn't go away, and you finally say, okay, screw it, I'm just going to go ahead and have the ice cream. If you'd had the ice cream before that started, you would have eaten less calories to begin with. So there are going to be times you have to learn to listen to that craving, and you have to learn how to judge when that craving is so strong that going to your alternative isn't going to work. If that craving is going to, if you're going to eat a $150 calorie to 220 calorie or 210 calorie protein bar to avoid the candy bar, but it didn't help and you end up eating the candy bar, yeah, you ate something healthy, but you didn't really help yourself because you've just eaten a lot more calories than you would have if you had just eaten the candy bar. You can get your nutrition in at your meals. You really can. You should get it when you have your snacks too, yes. But if for some reason you're struggling with that, and you're finding yourself not able to figure out, not able to just take a pause, I have stuff falling over, take a pause and just eat the one thing and you're going back to eat the other. You just need to learn how to judge when eating the yogurt will satisfy you for that ice cream craving, just going with that, or that protein bar will satisfy you with the candy bar craving, and you need to learn to judge when that's just not going to work. Because when it's just not going to work, you're going to end up eating more. And one of the things that you're trying to do when you're eating healthier is to not eat more in an effort to not eat more, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to use my Milani banana powder, and I'm going to pat this under my eyes, but you'll notice that I don't bake and I don't go heavy. I'm an older woman with texture. We do not put a lot of, if you're an older woman with texture, you do not want a lot of powder under your eyes. But I do want to kind of brighten it a little bit. And this will only do it a little bit, I think. This only does it a little bit. One of the other things you want to do when you're doing that particular procedure of, I am still seeing some glitter, but most of it is like directly under my eyes. So I guess we can live with that. But one of the other things you want to do when you're trying to substitute a healthier product, a healthier option for your other, for your not so healthy option, when you, like, if you want a Thin Mint, then getting a coconut caramel protein bar probably isn't going to help. Balanced Bars does have, they used to have the Thin Mints, but they do have an actual mint bar. They had another one that I really like that they don't carry anymore. But I'm just saying, so if you are looking at Thin Mints and going, I really want Thin Mints, but I'm just going to go ahead and eat this caramel bar, I don't think it's going to help. It's much easier to, it's a much better swap to make sure your flavors are fairly similar if you can. Some things you won't be able to do that with. Also, keep an eye on the types of like yogurts and stuff that you buy. I buy Chobani a lot. I buy the flips in addition to the their regular yogurts. Their flips have some wonderful, using my new flour powder, they have some wonderful textural kinds of yogurt combinations. They have a mint, they have a buttercream, not a buttercream, a butter crunch. It's supposed to be, I think, similar to like a Butterfinger. They also have stuff that's similar to fruit desserts like apple crisp and key lime pie and stuff like that. So get a variety in the hopes that it will help meet your needs at the time of your craving. So anyway, yeah, we fumbled through this a lot. We're done with the major part of the discussion. I will come back I'm going to finish this all up, and then I will come back and close out. I'll be right back. Okay, so this is our finished look. I actually surprisingly like it, considering how neutral it is. I think my only complaint about this is that I have glitter literally everywhere, and I know it didn't come from anything but this. So yeah, that's my one thing about this. However, I will say that it is holding up to my eyes pretty well, so I'm pretty happy with that. A lot of the other old stuff, my blush and highlighter and contour, are pretty much from ColourPop. The lip stuff is also a mix of older things that I got from my boxes already. So that's all my old stuff other than what I used out of here. The whole point of this particular video is to help you to find ways to eat healthier, to reach whatever goals you are trying to reach. A lot of people say if you want to lose weight, i.e. you want to lose fat, you need to eat less and move more. And unfortunately, unless you have some sort of background in all of that, knowing exactly what steps to take to do that can be very difficult to figure out. Eating less, okay, but less of what? Do I want to eat less salad? Do I want to eat less this? Whatever. So I'm just saying, I'm fortunate that my mother went through a health kick phase. Granted, we didn't like the food she gave us. Back then, healthy food was pretty dry. Dry in texture, dry in flavor for the most part. Things have gotten a lot better since I was a kid, thank God. You'd think 40 years would have something to make it better. Beyond that, I'd had a couple nutrition classes in high school, and then I had a couple of things that I did in college that all gave me some kind of background to figure out where to work next and where the first steps should be. I tried the Weight Watchers plan, which also gave me a few ideas of where to start when I decided to go on my own, because I was finally to that point where I needed to lose a little something. The point being that one of the first places to start working on is on your plate. It is said repeatedly that health starts in the kitchen. It doesn't end there, but it starts in the kitchen. Losing weight starts in the kitchen. It starts with your diet. You're not going to outrun, outlift, outswim a bad diet. You really aren't. So eat certain things in moderation, and hopefully some of the tips I've given you, using a smaller plate size, putting more vegetables on, putting some fruit on the plate, finding ways to incorporate more vegetables into your meals, finding swaps, like, you know, like I said, the Greek yogurt for sour cream, going to whole grains, trying to figure out where your point is of, I can go ahead and eat an alternative now, or I just might as well go ahead and eat this because this is coming no matter what I do, to avoid eating too many calories. Things like that. So hopefully a lot of those will help you as you go on your journey to be a healthier you, whether it is you're trying to lose weight or you're trying to increase muscle. Now, there is one thing I did not mention, but I have mentioned in previous videos, and I'm going to mention again now. If you are trying to increase muscle, one of the things that you need to do is make sure your protein is up. You need carbs for energy, for things, for aerobic type exercises, walking, running, swimming, jazzercise, whatever it is. Those kind of exercises need carbohydrates for the energy, but your muscles need protein for the build. I have one thing left that I'm kind of still in the diet culture for, and I'm trying to figure out how to work around it. Recently, Lose It gave me a lifetime membership, and it was just about the time when I was kind of going, yeah, I think I'll not do this anymore. And I think the problem is when you're on Lose It, you're counting calories. And I can understand needing to do that at the beginning, but I'm at the point where I don't care about the weight. I care about the fat. I care about the muscle. And my weight's going to go up no matter what. So, because of the muscle. Might eventually go down, but for now, it's going to go up. So, watching the calories doesn't do much for me. What I am thinking about doing, because it has excellent trackers for protein and fiber and salt, sodium, it has excellent trackers for that. So what I'm thinking about doing is at least tracking my food up to the point where I meet my minimums for my protein and fiber. Fiber being what helps fill you up and helps make it so that you are less hungry. And the protein, like I said, for the muscle. The sodium is a little harder to watch because I'd have to keep tracking food beyond that. But I want to not do that anymore. So I think what I'm going to do, I've taken the salt shaker away from my space where I eat, so now I can reduce the sodium that way. I'm going to watch my protein and fiber, and once I've hit them both, I'm no longer logging food. And I think that's one of the first steps to help get me out of the I need to watch my calories mentality, because that's the biggest problem with some of these weight loss sites, is that they're going to be encouraging you to watch your calories. I think for me that is a very big first step to not be tracking calories when that's part of diet culture, and I really don't need to be tracking calories because I'm not trying to lose weight. Now, if you're trying to lose weight, you want to track your calories, you want to make sure you have some way to track your exercise and all of that stuff, but like I said, for me, that's not an issue. Anyway, hopefully all that information will help you take control of your plate as well. We are still working on getting back into our plates being a little healthier like they were before our 3-year upheaval. Anyway, that's it for today. Like I said, I hope it helped. And if you like what you've seen, I hope that you will come back again and that you will subscribe. If you subscribe, I hope you hit the notification bell to know when I upload. I currently upload 4 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. But we do have bonus videos, as I talked about. All of our green stuff is now out on the porch, where hopefully it'll start growing and we'll start seeing some more of those videos come in. And we also should have a video towards the end of this month of my son opening a loot crate, and I know some of you love watching him do that. So make sure you're subscribed, make sure you have that bell rung so that you know when those videos come up. If you're part of my notification squad, you will want to check your subscription and your bell to make sure they are both still active. I don't know, YouTube. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. If you don't subscribe, well, we would be disappointed. However, we would also understand I am not everybody's cup of tea. Do be aware that, you know, Whole and Healthy Wednesday is only on Wednesdays. The rest of our content, other than some of the bonus videos, does tend to focus on beauty and makeup and all of that, and unboxings and stuff. I've got a few unboxings coming that I'm sure people are going to be interested in. I try to hit the unusual. I try to do the indie brands, and I'm trying to find subscriptions that are in the lower end, you know, below $30, below $25, somewhere in there, that we don't hear about too much, because we all hear about BoxyCharm, we all hear about Ipsy. Not bad things. They do get unboxed on this channel too. However, want to make sure to get you some other boxes as well. Anyway, moving right along. If you don't subscribe, I will understand, but we do hope that you will come back. And when you do come back, don't forget to bring your cup of tea. This has been sitting here for a while. This is some really cold tea. I do not know if chamomile tea is good cold. And I would ask you to warn me before I take a sip. However, you can't. So I'm just going to go ahead and give it a try, and we'll see how it tastes. That little pop was my husband opening a can. Oh. That little pop was from the neighbors. He's pointing at the ceiling. Anyway, as for the tea, it tastes okay. Whatever it was that caught my attention at the beginning of our video that I was trying to figure out has mellowed out, and the tea has mellowed out, and it's actually very good cold. I'm actually really surprised. And can I say actually any more times? Pretty decent. That's actually pretty decent. Anyway, I hope you all have a great day.